going on, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of DCF Live, coming to you guys live from the DCF studio here on Friday, October 8th, 5 o'clock Central Time. The White Sox just lost again. We are now down 2-0 into Houston in the ALDS, and that was a tough one. That was a tough game. I think that I just saw a stat that we have like 15 hits or 16 hits in this series, and they're all singles. And boy, it just seems like their defense, we're hitting it where their defense is, and they're making incredible plays, and everything they're hitting besides that home run that was hit off Kimbrel has seemingly been where we're not shifted to, and hits right up the middle and just plays that we're not able to make. So anyways, that's what's going on with the White Sox. We have some work to do. Got to win 3 games, but next 2 at home, so we're not giving up yet. Hopefully all of you guys are doing well. Hopefully you had a great week. We are now in the middle of week 5 of football season here, so it's been nothing but cleats the last month or so here. Hopefully we are sounding good and looking good. Please let me know. Let me make sure that the audio level sounds good, that I'm loud enough, and you can see me well. And hopefully you guys are getting excited about the DCF Heritage Contest. So we'll go ahead and just start out with that. Let me go ahead and pull up our flyer over here. Here we go. So the DCF Heritage Contest, a $500 grand prize that includes a $350 gift card to angelusdirect.com and a $150 gift card to our website, DeJesusinc.com, where you could pick from any of our merch, any of our stencils, or whatever your heart desires. So this is our 5th contest. The way that it works is you pick any type of base shoe you want to work on, and this time it's a heritage theme. So there is absolutely anything that you could do, whether you want to do something based off of your own heritage or you want to research other cultures from around the world and get inspired by a lot of the beautiful artwork that you might recognize from certain regions of the world. There's a lot you could do. And 1 entry per person. This is the first time we've done it that way. Usually we allow multiple entries, but I think that if we keep it to 1 entry per person, that's one going to, maybe those people who have submitted 4 entries in the past, and let's just say they spend 10 hours on each one. Now, what happens if you take 4 10-hour pairs and turn it into 1 40-hour pair? Then you might make something really incredible. So audio is great. Okay, good. Sounds good. Audio's good. Hey, we're starting off a stream with good audio. We'll take it. I got some new cables and stuff here, and hopefully it stays good for us. So thank you guys for joining. And I mentioned this. I did a Instagram Live last week while I was working on some cleats. I've been filming a ton of the process for a lot of the cleats that I've been working on the first 4 weeks of the season. And I want to bring back our series. We did it 2 years ago, called the 3 years ago, called the Custom Cleat Chronicles. And it's just a fun little, almost vlog-style video where I'm just recording clips throughout the week of what I'm working on. And a lot of times I might have, maybe it's a little bit of a tutorial on a technique that I'm going to do on a pair of cleats, or maybe I'll just, we'll come up with a lot of different things to feature throughout. So those will be, I'm hoping that the first kind of episode featuring some cleats and first episode of that series, the Custom Cleat Chronicles, should be out next week. That is ideally my plan. And then we have some other cool videos coming up. I have a video for the pair that I made for the Gallery Sakura in Paris. My submission for that, only 400 artists from all around the world did 1 shoe for the event. And it looked like an amazing time from some of the footage I got from people who went. I would have loved to go, but this time of year, always busy for us. And I don't think I've done a YouTube Live since we welcomed our second baby. So I had my daughter, Delilah, September the 12th. And yeah, I don't think I've been on here since then. So super busy time of the year. But when you have a happy, healthy baby, there's nothing more you could ask for. So mama and baby are doing good, so that's all good. Great to see you guys chatting here in the live YouTube chat. I see a lot of you guys going and checking out each other's pages. That is incredible to see. I always say it's free to support other artists, and good things can only come from it. You know what I mean? You can get inspired by other people's work, and they might reciprocate the favor and check out your work, comment on your stuff, like your stuff. Those little things, they seem incredibly minuscule. Like, does that really matter if I leave a like on somebody's page, if I leave a comment? It does. Those things add up over time. So definitely a great thing to do. So let's see here. Concurrent viewers. Okay, I got it posted on Instagram. Let me make sure that link went through. To come join in Discord. Cool. All right. Let me go ahead. Switch over here. And let's see. So I have a very exciting project. A pair just came in today that I am super excited about. One of my most exciting collabs maybe ever. I'm going to be actually working with, I'm not sure how soon the deadline for this project is, but I'm going to be working with one of my favorite Chelsea players. So I've been a Chelsea fan for years. I actually, the reason I became a Chelsea fan was when I started playing soccer in high school. I first went to high school in 06, so the 06 World Cup. I got World Cup fever heading into high school, and that's when I became a big soccer fan. So I played FIFA World Cup 06, and I remember playing a lot with Drogba in the Ivory Coast, and then finding out that he was a Chelsea player. Then Chelsea became my adopted Premier League team, and so I've been a Chelsea fan since then. And Drogba used to be an absolute monster in FIFA. It was just all you had to do was cross the ball into him, and he would do the rest from there. So I've been a Chelsea fan for a long time. With them winning the Champions League back in May, it was absolutely incredible. So then for this collab to come up, where I get to work with, it's going to be Mason Mount, since he is a Nike player, and I am super excited about that. We'll see what comes from it as far as am I going to be doing everything. We'll see where the project goes, but I just got his pairs in today, so I am just beyond excited about that. I mean, there's sometimes when I get asked who would be the most mind-blowing potential collab out there, you know what I mean? Michael Jordan obviously ranks incredibly high up there. I'd love to work with Derrick Rose, my favorite basketball player of all time. But the opportunity to work with a Chelsea player, and let alone Mason Mount, is mind-blowing. He's a Chelsea boy through and through, came up through the academy. So you know that guy bleeds blue. So super excited about that. I got these Freddy Krueger Vans. I picked these up. The Vans had a collab with some horror movies. They had a couple different pairs. I think Nightmare on Elm Street. They had some pairs from The Shining, a couple pairs from Friday the 13th, and Freddy Krueger being one of the most popular custom themes of all time. I thought this was an interesting take where they have the blood splatter on the laces, the midsole, all over the upper, and then Freddy's iconic sweater. I thought it would be really cool to have a pair of these. So let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. So Blue says, over a month to complete the shoes for the contest. Perfect. I'll start 3 days before the deadline and cause unnecessary stress. That is absolutely what I would be doing in anybody else's situation. I would say, okay, cool. Let me try to knock out everything else beforehand so that I could have that final week to really bang out an incredible pair. And that would probably be my game plan. So I have already seen a few submissions. We only announced the contest 9 days ago, last Wednesday. So it's only been 9 days, and quite a few people have already sent me their submission, whether it's a work in progress or their mock-up, and some of the ideas that I've seen are absolutely incredible. So shout out to anybody who's sent me their idea, their mock-up, some people are already finalized with their pair, and I'm just super excited. And I know it's going to be, once I'm able to review all of the submissions, that's going to be incredibly inspiring and eye-opening to me also, because I know I'm going to see so many new forms of artwork out there. So I'm really excited about that, and I think that the video that sort of reviews all the submissions, however I end up doing that style of video, because I've always done it with Jason in the past, where both him and I are reviewing all 75 to 100 submissions, talking about them for, maybe 30 seconds to a minute each. Since I no longer have Jason to do that, I just have to figure out how I'm going to be doing that style of video. I might do it the same way, where it's just me a pre-edited video where I just talk about every single pair for 30 seconds to a minute, or I might do something like this where it's a YouTube live stream, and I'm just reviewing all the pairs live. That would be a little bit easier, because then I no longer have to edit the video. That's what's kind of nice sometimes about a live stream, is you don't have to go back and do all the editing and inserting all the pictures and the text and all that type of stuff. that's what makes a video like that take a long time. And I know Jason always said those videos were very high up there for his least favorite to edit for how much went into those. So, Night Owl Customs, what's up, Dante? Says, what's up, Dylan? I just got done finishing up a pair today. Plan to post the photos next week on Monday. Nice, man. That's exciting. Always feels good. I know that little stretch when you finish an exciting project and then you're planning out your content, you're making sure you go get your high quality photos, you're editing your photos, you're getting all your pictures and videos and stuff ready to be posted. That's definitely an exciting time. Mad Panda Custom says, hello, Dylan. Almost There Design says, have you ever customized a skateboard? I actually have not. I do think I love a skateboard as a canvas since it's such a unique shape, essentially. You know, so often we're used to working on a canvas, a nice big rectangle or something like that, or a lot of canvases might be square, but a skateboard just provides a very unique, shape to perform artwork on. And I've always thought it would be really cool to customize some skateboards and have them hanging up in my studio. I've always wanted to do that. I've just never forced myself to carve out the time to do so. But let's see here. Maintainment says, hi, Dylan. What would you recommend as a good finisher to put over a shoe once completed, almost like a seal? So, truth be told, I actually believe that the finishers are almost thought of incorrectly, as everybody may think that a finisher sort of seals the product, locks it in, and a finisher is what prevents the paint from leaking. I almost think that a finisher's job is to do that partially, but it's almost half and half, that a finisher has two jobs. It's to create an even sheen, so if you pick a matte finish, it's to take your shoe that has a little bit of gloss to it from the paint and give it a nice even final coat, a nice clear coat on top to give everything a nice even sheen, whether that's going to be your matte, your flat, your factory, your high gloss, whatever the case is. But then it's not as much of a protector, a sealer, a locker as I think everyone else may think. It does do that to some degree, but you could almost think of it having two equal jobs of, like I said, it is there to be a nice clear coat to essentially try to protect the artwork, but it's not going to do it as much as you probably think, whereas the prep work is what really protects the artwork, whereas I think its job is also equally to provide a nice flat, even sheen, whatever sheen level you choose. Christopher Bennis in here under a different name. A lot of people don't know Christopher Bennis is actually Repsy Banks. He's got this must be his burner YouTube account with his real name. I know he doesn't drop the real name too often. So what's up, man? How you doing? How's wifey doing? My buddy Repsy, he's posted about it, but he's expecting a baby too, man. So super excited for him and his wife. Great people, and there's nothing like him, man. I know he's super excited about it. We talk about it all the time. Let's see. Mike Picard says, I'm working on an Avatar pair right now. I can't wait to finish them. I'm assuming, I wonder if you mean Avatar the movie or Avatar The Last Airbender, like the cartoon. Let me know which one you mean, Micah, because I think that Avatar the movie, I'm not sure. I think I've seen a pair of cleats a couple years ago with that theme, but other than that, I am actually not sure if I've seen an Avatar the movie from James Cameron. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a pair done with that custom theme. So that's super interesting. Almost There Design says, do you have to do any prep work for canvas material? So anytime I'm painting canvas, I don't do any prep work as far as acetone or anything like that. Some people who do specialize in working on a shoe, like a pair of Vans, sometimes they'll shave the canvas to a degree, but that might be more for people who might be doing Copic markers and stuff on Vans. But, if you just plan on, I've painted plenty pairs of Vans, whether they're, just Vans old schools or Vans slip-ons or Vans skate highs. I've painted plenty of them by not doing any prep work and just using, your Angelus paint and Too Soft. Micah says, The Last Airbender, loved it since I was a kid, so I had to do something. Very cool, very cool. I actually, you don't see too many Avatar The Last Airbender themes also on shoes, so that'll be cool to see. Let's see. Owen Atkinson says, how do you get over the fear of potentially ruining a pair of shoes before you start a project? Repetition, practice, all of these things of having an understanding of your talent as an artist will give you the confidence to not be afraid, but also spending time really in that planning phase will really help you know how you're going to get something done. You know what I mean? If you have a mock-up in front of you that you know is dope and now all you have to do is execute it, then all you have to do is execute it. And having all that practice under your belt, having all that repetition assures you that you can do it. Also, I think that sometimes when I'm doing a mock-up for something maybe ambitious, I'm trying a new design, whether it's a new texture, a new pattern, something where I'm like, you know, I'm kind of asking myself in the pre-planning phase, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this. I like to reverse engineer things sometimes. So I did a really cool pair. I don't have the pictures edited on my phone, otherwise I'd try to show them. I did a diamond plate steel texture for a pair of cleats for Ebron since he's on the Steelers. And I wasn't quite sure how I was going to achieve a realistic diamond plate texture. Not just doing a diamond plate stencil and just having it as a solid color spraying through the little pattern. I wanted to create something a bit more realistic. So what I really tried to do is I tried to reverse engineer things. I like to break it down layer by layer and sort of ask myself, I see the end result, how can I break it down and get there? So if we talk about, this is one of the cleats that I'm going to have featured in an upcoming video. So it'll be a little bit more detailed on this process right here. But I like to look at, let me see if I could pull it up here real quick, because this will help. Let's see, diamond plate texture. Yeah, this will be cool if I can get an image like this to pull up here. So let's see. Open image. Let me go ahead and save it here. Save image to Let's put it on the desktop. And now, how can I just bring that into here? Let me try this. Duplicate. Screenshot 2. And now, image. Let's see how this works here. Yep, okay, so it's covering me. One sec as I get this diamond plate texture pulled up here. Yeah, this will be cool. So, let's go ahead and just pull this off to the side a little bit. Okay, so here we have a diamond plate texture, and when I look at this and I say, okay, I want to paint that, now how do I get there? There's a few things that I want to start to look at, and I see that, okay, basically if I look at any of these little diamond plates, I'm not sure what the little small pieces are called, I'm just going to call those diamond plates for reference purposes here, and if I look at the top left of all of them that are pointed from bottom left to top right, you see a highlight there, right? Okay, now any of the ones that are pointed from top left to bottom right, you see a highlight on the right side. Now on the opposite side of that, you could almost call that a drop shadow underneath, and that's what pulls it forward from that gray background. That's what makes it seem elevated from the background. So if I can look at an image like this and just sort of start to ask myself, break it down layer by layer and almost remove all of the pieces. So if I remove that highlight, and then I remove that drop shadow, and then I remove those individual shapes, well then I'm just left with the gray background with the weathering on it. So then I could start off with a nice weathered background, and then I could add in the silhouettes of all those small shapes, and then I just need to tell myself, okay, now I just need to add a highlight on every one of them, and then I need to add a drop shadow underneath, and that's what's going to pull them forward and make them seem like they are elevated. So I explained that exact concept right there a little bit more in depth in what is ideally going to be next week's video, talking about some cleats. So hopefully that broke that down, and that initial question was just about how do you get over the fear of potentially ruining a pair of shoes before you start a project. So it's just having the confidence in yourself, whether it's through repetition or really understanding the material and what you plan on doing. But, you know, at the end of the day, just having practice, having, you know, those reps under your belt is what's really going to help you. Okay, here we have a super chat come in from Adrian. Thank you so much for supporting the channel like that, Adrian. We truly appreciate that. That definitely means a lot to us, buddy. Hey, Dylan, have you ever experimented with chrome paint on any sneakers? If so, what are your opinions on using such paints? Adrian, so I actually have not done any form of a true chrome on paints. The most that I've done is metallics and pearlescence. Angelus has some great ones. Jacquard has some great options also for their metallic paints. I actually think that their metallics are a little bit stronger than Angelus's, and they're airbrush ready, so those are definitely nice. I can show some of those. This metallic silver from Jacquard, the airbrush ready paint, this is a great silver. As far as chrome, though, where you're almost going for like a near mirror finish, I have not, to my knowledge, I am not sure of any paint that would be from Jacquard or Angelus or any of your major paint brands that would allow you to do such. So I do think if it were possible, that is when you might need to enter into the world of using pigments within your paint. So taking something like Angelus neutral paint, which is colorless, and then I'm not sure if solar color dust might have like a chrome pigment, but solar color dust is who you would pick up the pigments from if you were ever trying to do any of the thermoactive paint or any of the color changing from light or, you know, the heat sensitive, the thermal paint. I'm not sure if if solar color dust has any, but that is who I would check out if you are interested. Jesse says, have you done any pairs of Vans using Copex or any alcohol-based markers? I have not. I actually have not, but I see Night Owl follows up shortly after and says, if you're ever wondering about Copex on Vans, check out Vaname Soul. Absolutely, that is the man to check out if you're interested in seeing a phenomenal artist at it, or I know he has a lot of tutorials and stuff also, but markers is not, Copic markers is not something I've experimented with at all, but he does absolutely incredible work. And there's just a different feel. There's just a different, you feel differently looking at his artwork because it's not done with traditional paint. Like it, just the stuff he does, you could take the best painter in the world and it would be really hard to do what he does with markers on Vans. I truly believe that. And he's just a kick-ass artist also. So definitely check out Vaname Soul. Gabby says, I can't believe you made a contest in the middle of cleat season. Want to do it if I got time. I know. I originally did want to plan this contest back in spring, but this year has just been so hectic. So much stuff going on here. Crazy deadlines as always. And a new phase essentially for myself here at DCF with Jason moving on and now figuring out all this other stuff. And doing all of the video content on my own definitely has presented some challenges, you know what I mean? But that you know, the show must go on, and Jason and Nak are actually doing I have a brand video that I needed help with because it's one that I couldn't film by myself. So I actually Jason's going to be doing a video for me next Saturday. And so I'm excited to do that with him, especially because I know he hasn't done one in a while. I'm sure he's going to come with his A++ game, and he's going to be excited to do some cool tricks to show that he's still got it, of course. So, yep. But yeah, the deadline for that, I'm sure, is going to be, I know that there's, usually I have a deadline the week after the end of the Heritage Contest is Thanksgiving. I wanted it to be the week before Thanksgiving, because that's usually always a deadline also for a lot of the My Cause, My Cleats. Usually towards Black Friday is when a lot of them are asking to have them back, even though the game isn't for another week or two, because their content teams and production teams need to do their thing with the cleats. So, let's see here. Micah says, how do I get my business to grow bigger? I've tried a lot, from sharing and getting promos and creating a lot of content, but nothing seems to help. Micah, so sometimes if you're doing the right things, sometimes you just need to do more of it. Like, if you know, I'm doing all of the right steps, I'm consistently putting out quality content, I'm on all of my platforms, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I know I'm staying consistent. Consistency is, if not the biggest thing, that's really high up on the list, and I'm actually putting out quality content, then sometimes you just need to continue doing it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not a dramatic overhaul that you need to do, but when you're saying, how do I grow bigger? You need to sort of ask yourself, okay, what are things that would help me grow on Instagram? How could I reach a larger audience? And so, how are you typically finding new people? How are you finding new accounts on Instagram? You might find stuff on your Explore page where, you know, if your content does well and it ends up on the Explore page, other people might find you. But you also might try to get featured on larger pages that repost custom sneakers and things like that. Or by trying to work with influencers or celebrities or something like that. And if they were to shout you out or talk about your work, that is absolutely a way for a new audience to find you. And sometimes you need to say, okay, well, hey, look, I feel a little stagnant on Instagram. Maybe it's time for me to shift a little bit more of my focus on another platform, whether that's TikTok or YouTube. Sometimes that's a case also. I know that in early 2018, right before we really revved up the engines for doing a lot more YouTube, I felt very stagnant on Instagram. Within my first probably 5 years on Instagram, I grew to probably about 70,000 followers. And over the next, I probably hit that within my first 4 years on Instagram, probably about 70,000 followers. And then for my next 2 to 3 years, I gained 1,000 followers, if that. I just felt like I hit a wall for a couple of years. And I thought I was doing a lot of the right things. I was being consistent. I was always busy with work, but I wasn't really growing my Instagram page. So I said, you know what? We need to try something else. We need to introduce video content, whether that's us trying cool videos here on Instagram, or we need to shift a little focus and start doing more YouTube and just see if we can reach a new audience that way. And that's what we did, and that dramatically helped us not only continue to grow our Instagram audience, which has grown an additional nearly 30,000 followers in the 3 years that we've been on YouTube, and grow our YouTube audience to, we're at about 190,000 followers, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So, yeah, I think that sometimes, it might be time to just test out another platform for a little bit if you're starting to feel stagnant on one. So hopefully that helps. Malika, how you doing? Good to see you here. Let's see. Kayvon says, do you think it's more efficient for someone starting in the customizing business to purchase an airbrush first or get used to a paintbrush and build up? I think that it is better to just start off with a paintbrush first. It's totally going to depend on the style of your artwork, but if you don't know what that is yet, if you don't have a specific style that calls for an airbrush, start off with the paintbrush and really master the fundamentals first. You know what I mean? Because there's not too many artists who only airbrush, never pick up a paintbrush. I use an airbrush for my base coats. I believe it's faster. I'm able to work on multiple projects at once. I use it for a lot of my textures and stenciling. But other than that, you still need to have good control with the paintbrush. And sometimes there's just going to be certain designs that don't really call for an airbrush. You're better off just using a paintbrush. It's not worth the time that it takes to set up everything required for airbrushing. So you're taping, getting your airbrush ready, getting your paint ready, all that type of stuff. So definitely master the fundamentals of a paintbrush first, is my recommendation. Sneakers Lander says, hi, bro. Hello. How you doing, Sneakers Landers? First time seeing you here, I think. Thank you for joining us. XRP Command Center says, if you had a Jordan 14 reverse Ferrari with a water stain, what colors do I need from Angela? So if it's a water stain, I'm assuming that you've probably tried cleaning them, multiple different ways, seeing if you could just sort of get it out first. When it comes to restoration work, truth be told, I'm not a restorer. So I don't necessarily have the best knowledge, but what I can tell you from if I were to just treat that as a shoe that I'm painting, and let's just say I was trying to cover up one spot, the tricky thing is that first off, ideally you would be dyeing those rather than painting them. And the issue with dyeing them is it would be really hard to get that specific shade to match the spot that you're trying to cover up. So that would be really tricky, first off, to get the perfect dye color. And then secondly is if you were to paint them, you then could potentially change the texture of them. So truth be told, I'm not a restoration specialist, so you might be better off reaching out to somebody who specializes in that, see if they could give you any advice, because I certainly don't want to tell you the wrong thing to do. But, you know, if you're trying the dye method, it's going to be really tough because it's hard to mix dyes. It's going to be really tough to get that specific shade. And if you were trying the paint method, you could ultimately end up changing the texture more than you ideally want to. And it would also be tricky to get that shade out of paint also. So the best solution is if you could somehow get the stain out just from cleaning it. But I'm assuming you've probably tried that a few different ways and might not have had the best luck so far. So, okay, here. I did see a couple super chats come in. Let me go ahead and get these. Let's see here. So, Laced Up Custom says, when starting out, would you gear your designs more towards getting sales or paint designs you're passionate about? P.S. Love your work. Laced Up Customs, this is a absolutely phenomenal question. And this is a great question that I think all artists ask themselves. And I don't think that it's necessarily my answer is one or the other. I think that a strategy that I know I've employed over the years, and this is even something that we've done with certain YouTube videos, is sometimes it might not be a bad thing to mix in some of those designs that you know will help drive traffic. But the hope is that the traffic you're driving isn't going to just want to continue to see that work from you moving forward. So let's just say, for example, you're starting out. Let's just take one of the most generic designs out there, an LV pair of Air Force Ones. If you were to do that, that is something that a lot of people enjoy, a lot of people would be interested in, a lot of people would probably want to buy those. But what's going to happen then when those people see you starting to do your own artwork, whether it's original stuff or just something way different than a simple LV type Air Force? That's the risk that you run when you do something like that. So a cooler way to do something like that is maybe you sort of ask yourself, how can I maybe do something like an LV Air Force One, but still add sort of my own flavor to it? Somehow still finding a way. Let's just say I do crazy busy textured work the other portion of the time when I'm not doing, a simple LV Air Force One. How could I maybe sort of mix and mash some of that in together to draw new eyes in? You know what I mean? And you just sort of got to ask yourself, where am I trying to get as an artist? Because if I'm doing those things just to drive sales today, am I going to hurt myself more in the long run? Because I might be gaining an audience who's interested in that, but then that audience might not like my original work. Then they're not going to engage with that. Then I have followers who don't really care about my work, and that doesn't really help you grow on any of these platforms. So ideally, you're doing your own original style, your own themes, rather than doing this stuff to generate sales. But I wouldn't say that I think at all costs you need to avoid ever putting out stuff that would, draw new eyeballs per se. Because I've certainly done it in the past. And for a long time I was against that. I said, I don't ever want to do any, LV type stuff. But then when I had certain people reach out, whether it was, hey, I want to do these on cleats, I would say to myself, okay, cool. I know that these are going to be something. Maybe this is something that could get me reposted by some of these bigger pages, and it could help gain a big audience, gain a new audience. And then I'm sort of willing to bet that I believe in my style and stuff enough that I believe a general audience will like it also. So you sort of need to ask yourself, what's the trade-off to something like that? So ideally, you're doing your own stuff. You're doing your own thing, and people are coming to you because they like what you do. Whereas when you do an LV Air Force One, even if I were to do it today, people aren't interested in that because Dylan DeJesus did it. No, they're interested in it because it has LV on it. You know what I mean? So that's I think that's a good way of answering that one. So hopefully that helps, Laced Up Customs. in a perfect world, you're doing your own thing, and people are coming to you because they love laced up custom style, and they want a pair from Laced Up Customs. If you're just doing LV Air Force Ones, is that really a pair from Laced Up Customs? Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe you have a way to put your own twist or anything like that. But then what happens when you put out a pair that really is something that you're passionate about, and then the audience that you've built, it may not resonate with them, you know, then that kind of stinks, you know what I mean? Because then they're not the ones that are enjoying your artwork also. So Adrian, again, with another super chat. Thank you so much, Adrian. Really appreciate that, man. I'm sure you've covered this in the past, but what brand of adhesion promoter do you use? And is adhesion promoter necessary with proper prep work? So the one that I use is a Rust-Oleum brand. And is adhesion promoter necessary with proper prep work? I do believe so. I use it. And I think that it's something that helps. So I do one coat, let it dry for 10 minutes, and then I do another coat. And then it says right on the can that you want to apply the paint while the adhesion promoter is still wet. So I would also only use that if you were airbrushing also. If you're just hand painting, I wouldn't be using it. So, okay, let's see here. Let me scroll back up here in the chat. Kobe Editing says, so what Halloween custom are you planning to do this year? I would really want to see you do a Freddy Krueger custom or a Jason custom. I would love to do one of those. It's definitely going to be hard for me to find the time to squeeze one of those in. If I were to do a Halloween custom this year, I would like to fit this on the schedule, but I have this would make for a really cool video too. I just told this story on Instagram Live recently, but I found a pair. I was trying to plan out a design for a pair of Jordan 1. So sometimes what I'll do when I'm just scratching in my head on a design, sometimes I'll just Google, let's say I'm doing a Jordan 1, I'll Google Jordan 1 customs and see what other people have done in the past. And just, you know, sometimes that's how I come up with inspiration. Just see what people have done, see what I like, see what I don't like, and sometimes build my designs from there. And I happen to see a pair pop up from eBay because eBay listings rank really high for SEO purposes. And I said, it was a pair of Jordan 1s, and I said, man, those look really familiar. And the reason they look familiar is because that looks like a design that I've done before, but definitely not my picture. And it was a Bride of Frankenstein pair. And I did them probably about 7-8 years ago. Definitely when I had just pretty early in my career. And so I clicked on the listing, and they were on eBay for like $125, $150. I can't remember because I bought them a few months ago. So I saw the listing, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and buy these because I showed them to my wife, Brittany. We were working, and I said, hey, check these out. This is a pair that I did. It's listed on eBay. And she says, and I said, look at how bad they are. I would love to essentially redo this theme. And she said, why don't you buy that pair and redo them? And I said, that's a genius idea. And I probably bought these back in like May or June. And Brittany's like, you have to do these for Halloween. You have to do these for October. And I was like, that's a great idea. I have like 3-4 months to plan it. Now we're already in the middle of October. And so I have the pair here, and I would love to redo this Bride of Frankenstein pair that I did 7-8 years ago that are absolutely not good at all. There's nothing good about them. So I would love to redo the theme, and I think that would make for a cool YouTube video. But I definitely would love to do a Freddy vs. Jason pair. Something that I've said I think would make for a cool pair before is mashing up Freddy, Chucky, Michael, and Jason, because Freddy and Chucky, just as for design purposes, what's great about them is they both have really iconic sweaters. So Freddy has the red and green sweater, and then Chucky has the super colorful striped sweater. And then Michael and Jason wear, you know, jumpsuits, and they're both silent, and they have the knives, the machetes. And I think that just for a design purpose, I'm not sure if I would put maybe Freddy on one pair and Chucky on the other, so you could have the two different sweaters sort of as one of the main components for the design, and then, you know, the mask of Michael versus the mask of Jason somewhere. But I think that those four could make for a really cool mashup, and I've thought that for a while, but I've never really started to plan out the design, but I would definitely love to do that one. Let's see here. Zuki Custom says, I just finished the shoes for James Murray. Who is James Murray? Zuki, I'm not quite sure who James Murray is. Let me take a quick Google of that real quick. I'm assuming I should probably know who James Murray is. James Murray is an American comedian, actor. So is he from movies? Oh, Impractical Jokers. Okay, yeah. You told me that you were doing a pair for one of the guys from Impractical Jokers too. Okay, I didn't know him by name. Gotcha. Oh, very cool, man. That's exciting stuff. That is exciting stuff. Crematory Dude says, can you mix small amounts of other paints with Angelus paints? For example, Green Stuff World color changing paints mixed with Angelus white base. Or would the paint end up cracking, peeling? I can't say for sure. I've also never used Green Stuff World paints. But for the most part, I would try to avoid it just for the unknown. If you could, keep the paints together, that would be better. So I'm not sure if, Green Stuff World has maybe a white paint that you can mix in with their color changing ones. So I would try to avoid it. I can't say definitively if I believe that would cause it to crack or peel, but maybe you're introducing another variable that's kind of an unknown. Sadir Ellis says, do you plan on hiring a new video editor as you will likely need help, especially for YouTube? Maybe I would like to, potentially. It's, the thing about it is it's not just another, it's hard to find, and it's not just another employee. Like essentially Jason and I we essentially had like a marriage because of how much we worked together, how collaborative it was. And so it just has to be the right person. So it's not really as of right now a definitive yes or an absolutely not. Right now I feel capable of sort of handling it for the time being. But I've also realized I can't, since Jason's not here, I can't pump out the same workload that Jason and I did together because of now being one person. So it's hard to just find another person to do that job because of how Jason sort of, what was great about him is he understood the shoe culture, he understood sort of our audience, whereas if I just bring somebody who has, essentially like a videographer, if I bring somebody who has an understanding of video, do they know what would work well for our target audience because they are, they understand the culture that we're in, or this niche that's tough to figure out. So maybe if the right person pops up, you know what I mean, then I absolutely would like to get more help, you know what I mean, but it's hard to find the right person for it. I work from home also, so then I obviously have to really trust and really vibe with the person that I would be working with, since they'd be at my house all the time, you know what I mean? So definitely. Mika says, I really should get more into TikTok, but I really don't know how to make quality TikTok. Let me see. Quality TikToks for custom shoes. Yeah, so I think that sometimes what you can do for that is look at some of the largest pages on TikTok that specialize in custom shoes. So look at some huge artists on TikTok that have big followings and get tons of views. Take a look at their videos and say, okay, cool. What's working about these videos? Why are they getting huge views? Is it because of they're doing trendy songs or trends, or is it because they have insane quality? Is it because of their design style? Did they come up with a cool little video cliche? Like, what's working here, and how could I sort of implement that? So one thing that I'm gonna test out and see how it works. I actually saw a TikTok that was from a page that just show cool. The page is actually called Coolest Cleats. So they show new cleats that come out from Nike and Adidas. They show cleats sometimes from customizers for some of the NFL's biggest stars. And they had a video that had 4 million views, and all it was an ASMR unboxing of a new pair of Adidas cleats that were Monsters Inc. inspired. So one shoe was like Sully and one shoe was like Mike. And so the one green shoe versus one blue and purple shoe, and it was just an ASMR unboxing, and it was cool because you got to see a 360 of the shoes and whatnot. And I said to myself, man, you know what? That could work. That could be an additional video that I do with essentially every single project. I just show an ASMR unboxing at the end of, I have this packaging that I believe is cool. I have custom boxes, tissue paper, stickers, business cards, and then showing off the shoes in a 360 view, because a lot of times you might only end up seeing, a few cool photos of the shoes when they're done, but there's definitely something different about actually seeing a really cool 360 view of the shoes, because sometimes there might be hidden details that you don't just see from this front angle here. What if I have something on this back heel that you might not see depending on the style of photos that I choose and stuff? So I'm excited to test that out. So you just got to see what works on TikTok and then see how, okay, cool. What do I like about this? What do I not like? And how can I do my thing with it? Let's see here. I had a couple super chats come in. Let me go ahead and check these out. XRP Command Center, thank you so much for sending in that super chat. I really appreciate it. It says, thanks for answering my earlier question. Here's the hardest question for you. Do you think it's more profitable to accept Bitcoin as well for your services? If you believe in the crypto market, then it could be an absolutely phenomenal idea for you. Imagine if you accepted one Bitcoin years back, when even I think Bitcoin was at, before the pandemic, wasn't it at like 6,000? And now it's at like, what, I'm not sure what it's at this week, 50 something. So imagine if you accepted one Bitcoin for a project for 6,000 a year and a half ago, and now all of a sudden it's 54 a year and a half later. I mean, if you believe in the crypto market. And I'm certainly no crypto expert, but if you believe in it, but it also could go the other way. You know what I mean? What if you accepted Bitcoin today at 54 and then all of a sudden it drops to 32 in the next 3 months that you held on to? You know what I mean? Then you were essentially paid a lot less for your service, per se. But if you believe in it and people are willing to pay for it, absolutely. I think it's very interesting, and I know a lot more places are starting to accept it. I know a few baseball stadiums started to accept it this year. I saw something in the mall the other day, actually. I didn't look at it, but it was one of those, they have the stand sometimes in the mall that you could either trade your phone into or, whatever it was. And it said something about Bitcoin, but I was like, what the heck is this? I didn't even bother to stop and look at it. But I don't think it's a bad idea, XRP Command Center, because I do believe in it. I do believe that could work well for you. Let's see here. Laced Up Customs with another one. Thank you so much for that. It says, when's the next time you're doing a review your Instagram? I'm just starting out and would love some feedback. Laced Up Customs, I will gladly check out your Instagram today. Let me know if you want to comment it again here in the chat. Is your Instagram just Laced Up Customs? Let me know if there's any underscores or anything that I might need, and I will gladly check that out. Oscar 13 says, a cool idea for the Freddie, Chucky, Jason, Michael pair would be you paint two of the characters' themes and collab with someone for the other two characters. I like the way you think. That is a great idea, Oscar. I really love that idea, and I am so much more open to collabs and cool things like that than I ever have been in the past. And I did a collab with Sayla Vic a couple months ago where we both did a Space Jam pair of Air Forces. Mine were the Munstars, hers were the Looney Tunes, and we did a cool YouTube video on it, and it was such a blast. I got to interview her. We both did a video together, and it was just a great time. And although this wasn't a pair that we both worked on, we both did a similar theme on, both working on a pair of Air Forces also, so that was very cool. Colby Hampton, thank you so much for sending in that super chat, says how to put speakers and electronics into shoes. So from what I have seen, I had a pair on Reviewing Your Customs from All Shoes Matter, and it was our Christmas contest. So this would be Christmas 2019. So this video released, if you want to check it out on our page, it is episode 5 of Reviewing Your Customs. And his pair is on the thumbnail. It's a pair of Jordan 6s, and it has like a snowflake pattern. And he had a speaker inside. And so you actually need a shoe that has a fair bit of padding. Like, for example, these Vans skate highs, it's probably not going to show that well here. But there's not a ton of padding on these sidewalls here on this interior. Whereas on the pair of Jordan 6s, I don't have any within arm's reach. They're all kind of far. I do have some Jordan 6s over there. But there's way more padding that he was able to cut into, install a tiny speaker, and do such. I have added lights onto a pair of Vans, a pair of Christmas Vans, where I added the lights to make it look like the Grinch was stealing the lights. So you might be somewhat limited sometimes by the base shoe that you're using and what you're actually trying to do. I'm definitely not a specialist in it. I have only done it once, but there is a couple videos on it for YouTube here if you want to add lights into the midsole. Like I know Tragic 1993 has done lights into the midsoles of Air Max 90s. And so yeah, it depends what you're trying to do, but that's definitely some very cool stuff for sure. Let's see here. Jesse, I saw this is a good question. Yesterday, I had a customer trying to, in quotation, pay me by promoting my shoes. Any advice? So, Jesse, the thing that you need to ask yourself here, I am not somebody who automatically thinks that you need to shoot this down, but there's a lot of factors. There's probably 10 questions that you need to ask yourself to decide if this is a yes or a no. First off, they want to pay me by promoting my shoes. So the first question, let's ask ourselves, what is the size of their audience? Okay. If it's Kylie Jenner versus, with 100 million followers versus if it's an influencer that has 2,000 followers. Okay. It's most likely somebody in between. You know what I mean? And how engaged is their audience on social media? So take a look at, where they're going to be promoting you. Are they going to give you a post just on their stories, or that goes away that people can just click right after, or is it going to be something on their feed of them maybe holding the shoes or wearing the shoes that then people can comment on, that then people can easily see who's tagged and go to your page? What are they going to do to actually promote it? Then you need to ask yourself, okay, cool. What am I going to put into the shoe? Are they asking for something incredibly complex, or are they asking for something incredibly simple? And how much time is that going to take me? How much material is this going to cost me? And so then sort of have that in the back of your mind. How much am I going to be putting into this through my time, through my materials and such? And then you need to ask yourself, how busy am I currently? Do I have, if I'm going to insert this project, if I'm going to insert this project into my current workload, am I then going to have to push everything back and now tell all of my other paying customers that they need to wait even longer? You know what I mean? Because I'm pushing this project to the front of the line. But maybe if you don't have a huge workload right now, maybe you're okay with squeezing something like this in, and you're okay with essentially taking a risk. And because, sometimes nothing can come from them promoting your shoes. Sometimes you might not even get a ton of followers, you know what I mean? So then was it really worth it? But sometimes it's also good to, what you need to do anytime you're doing something like this, if you're ever doing something like this is for anybody, you need to, I'm going to call this like control the narrative. So if I'm going to be doing something for a celebrity influencer, you need to make sure that your audience really knows about it by you doing the content. So how can I maximize my growth potential out of this? Because right now you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to get the most out of this because they are going to post it. But something that you want to ask yourself is, what happens if I could just naturally attract some of their audience by mentioning their name? And let's just say that's through a YouTube video. So let's say you're making a shoe for, Jesse, let's just say, for example, you're making a shoe for Michael Jordan, okay? If you post a YouTube video that says, I made custom shoes for Michael Jordan, there's a good chance people will want to click that. You know what I mean? Or let's say Kylie Jenner, because we're talking about the influencer example here. I think she's the most followed person. It might be Ariana Grande or Selena Gomez or Taylor Swift. One of them. Maybe The Rock. Let's use The Rock. Okay, so I made custom shoes for The Rock. Imagine if you had that as a title for a YouTube video. People would be interested in clicking that outside of just the people who are going to click it if he posts about it. You know what I mean? So then also if you post about it yourself, hey, I made these custom shoes for The Rock, it's going to look really damn cool to your audience, and there's a chance that might make other people want to pull the trigger, because if you're working with somebody like The Rock, somebody who you might know who might be within your current circle might say, okay, cool, you know what, now I definitely want to get something done by Jesse. So there's just all these little factors and questions that you need to ask yourself, and it's definitely something where you weigh out kind of all sides of the equation, because it's going to vary. Sometimes it could be a yes, but sometimes it could be a no, depending on all these different factors. So those are some of the things that I like to ask myself. CW, how you doing, man? Do you still have a hold of the graduation Jordan 1s? I sure do, man. That's definitely going to be a pair that I always keep for myself. Absolutely. Ice here says, that's a big rip for me because I didn't announce when it came to doing a pair for Talia Mar twice. Yes, absolutely. I think that, like I said, control the narrative for yourself so that you can try to reach a larger audience sort of just by mentioning their name is one way that I would look at it. Gabby says, you should make a video of you allowing your son to paint on a pair of shoes and then you turn it into a dope design. That's a pretty cool idea. I definitely like that one, Gabby. That would make for something cool. He's so funny now. So my son Dexter is 2.5, and he's started to see over the last month or so how many, because he comes down in the basement all the time where I work, he started to see a ton of cleats, and I tell him, hey, these are what the football players wear. So anytime I'm watching sports, I always ask him, what sport is that? And at this point, he knows all the sports. Oh, that one's baseball, that one's football, that one's basketball, that one's soccer. And anytime football's on, he starts to point at the shoes and say, what are those called? And then when I tell him those are football cleats, and he says, we paint those. And it is so funny to me. So a few times I've let him hold the airbrush, spray a little bit of paint and stuff, and he gets a kick out of it for sure. So he loves turning the compressor on and off when I'm working. But that's a great video idea, Gabby. Jesse Rosa here says, I started customizing about 1.5 years ago, and I had a starting price at $200 for the work. Is that too high of a price starting out? And how long do you think I should take to bring the price up? So a very broad, simple saying that you could sort of ask yourself is, if I'm too busy, that might mean I'm too cheap. You know what I mean? So if you're too busy, if you always have a huge workload, you might be too cheap. And that's good to be in demand, you know what I mean? But that also might mean it's time to raise prices, you know what I mean? And that doesn't make you a bad person for raising your prices. If you're high in demand and you're putting out high quality work, you might be undercharging. There's a good chance that you are. And so, Jesse, without seeing any of your work, it is 1,000% impossible for me to say if that's a good price point or a bad price point. Would I say just a typical market price point? Do I think that that's fair or average? I would absolutely say that is, just $200 for the work. That is what I would call an average or fair market price point without really seeing your work right now. So who knows? You might be doing absolutely incredible stuff that I could tell you right now, wow, you are way undercharging. You know what I mean? So without knowing or seeing any of your work, I can't absolutely say yes or no, but that definitely is, a fair market price point for sure. Tom's World says, I have about 49K followers on TikTok. I would recommend to expand platforms if you have a big following on TikTok. Very cool, Tom's World. Not easy to get to 49 up on TikTok. Great work. Great work. I saw my buddy Jordan let me scroll up. Jordan Vincent, man, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Says 200K coming up soon. And then he sends up a even better follow-up message asking thoughts on Posca pens. Good to see you, Jordan. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Let's see. Let me see here. Malika says, when do you think it's the right time to hire an employee? I think that it's not necessarily ever a bad time to consider. You just really need to ask yourself, what do I want from an employee? Am I looking to get somebody to, because there's a lot of different things that you could, there's a lot of different hats you wear running a business as a sneaker customizer. You know what I mean? You are the artist. If you're doing it all by yourself, you're the artist, you're the photographer, you're the videographer, you're the content poster, you're the marketer, the advertiser, you're the back-end business, numbers, analytics stuff. You wear all of these different hats. So if I'm bringing somebody in, what's a task that I would like them to do? Whether that's helping with the painting, because that's where I view myself as needing help. Maybe I need help creating better content, whether that's through photo or video. Maybe I need help with just sort of planning out my content or marketing or advertising, doing some of those things that I think a lot of artists, I think sometimes we need to ask ourselves, am I really doing anything in terms of marketing or advertising, or am I kind of just posting my current commissions or my current projects? Because for a long time, that's all I did. I don't think I really spent any time thinking about marketing or advertising. I really only thought, okay, cool. My marketing and advertising is just going to be me posting all of my projects that I'm working on, or all of my commissions, or hey, somebody just ordered these Punisher Jordan 6s. Cool, let me post them. And now next week, somebody orders these Bumblebee Jordan 5s. I'm going to post those. Now somebody orders these Joker Jordan 1s. I'm going to post these. And never really taking the time to think, okay, cool, what am I going to do in terms of actually marketing or advertising or things like that. Maybe you need help with some of the back-end analytics, tax stuff, boring business numbers, website stuff. Maybe you need help building out a website, SEO stuff. You just need to ask yourself, when's the right time to bring somebody on to. You first need to ask yourself, which of those areas do I need help in? And then how am I going to compensate them? And it's really tough, because is it going to be a hourly thing? Am I considering taking on a business partner where it's an equity thing? Am I going to be paying on a per project basis? If it's, maybe for content, I'll hire a videographer when I know I have a special project. Maybe they do some YouTube video editing for me and it's a sort of per video type thing. And so it's never a bad time to consider hiring, but you just sort of need to ask yourself, what areas am I lacking in? That's the first question that I think you really want to think about, Malika. Let's see here. Youngsters Clothing says, I got here late, but dropping in to show some support and gain some more knowledge. Always looking to learn more. Thank you for joining us, Youngsters Clothing. I think this is the first time I've seen you here in the chat, so I appreciate you hanging out. I've seen a ton of new people for the first time here in the chat today, so thank you guys for joining us. Mackenzie Richardson says, I am new to doing custom shoes, so I was wondering what software or website you use to plan out what you're going to do on the shoe. So if I'm working on the computer, I use Photoshop from Adobe. And if I'm working on my iPad, there's a really great software called Procreate, which is $9.99, I believe, and it is absolutely phenomenal for planning out design. So those are the two that I recommend. Let me see here. Chalky Thick Shake says, what is the best stencil pack I could get from you that are textures? So we have on our Etsy, you could check out our texture pack if you're just looking for quite a few options and just some really great textures that work for literally any theme. We have a pack dedicated to just that. It has 6 different ones. And then we have our Just Create Value Pack, which is that texture pack, plus probably our next 4 most popular stencils. That one's going to include our Joker stencil, our Bel Air stencil, and our Lightning stencil, along with all of our drip stencils. And then our last one we actually have, we call it the Gotta Catch 'Em All Value Pack, which is all of our stencils. We've had quite a few people buy that, And that's a really cool one. And I believe that one has, I believe it's 25 different stencils. And if you were to purchase all of those at full retail price, we offer the value pack at almost half the price. So definitely feel free to check that out. Chalky Thick Shake, great name. And if you have any other questions, definitely feel free to reach out. Let's see here. Trying to get caught up a little bit. Da, da, da. Antony Canetta says, do you have to be a good artist, as I use stencils more than freehand? I think that this is kind of like asking if you have to be a good athlete to play sports. You don't have to, but it absolutely helps if you're athletic and you try a new sport. You know what I mean? If you already have good coordination, if you have good balance, it's just going to naturally help you trying any other sport. So if you're naturally artistic, or just if you've been an artist for a long time, then when you start doing custom shoes, it's probably going to come a little bit easier to you, but you can get better at anything through practice. So to just say that you're just doing stencils now, there's absolutely no problem with that. And that's not to say that you can't get better over time by doing more painting without the stencils. So let's see. King Omari, yes, I saw this one pop up a couple times, so I want to make sure I get to it. King Omari Oliver says, how do you get skin color paint for portraits of people and anime characters? So this, I truly believe, is the hardest question to answer, because I think everybody's looking for like the 1 or 2 or maybe 3 Angelus paints that you need to buy that you can then create every color skin tone with, which is funny because if you ever studied oil painting, you would hear from a lot of really famous oil paint artists that you could create any color by just using red, yellow, blue, and then of course white and black, and maybe a couple other neutrals. But that's a lot harder with Angelus paints, and there's not just like 3 colors that you get. Like, I just need Georgia peach, putty, and bowler brown, and I could make any skin color from any anime and any human. Like, truth be told, if you're doing a really high level, like extremely high level, incredibly precise portrait, you are going to be using hundreds of colors. Hundreds. And you're going to be using a ton of different paints. So in a very broad sense, like some of the most common colors that I use when I'm doing maybe an anime color skin or, certain portraits, you're going to be using your whites, your play in the sands, your beiges, your yellows, your Georgia peaches, your petal pinks, your chocolates, your light browns, your beige taupes, your bowler browns, your chocolates. It's so tough to answer. But I mean, for a lot of animes, you might start with a lot of white, petal pink, mixing in salmon. I mean, there's so much, and it just depends on the character that I feel bad that there's not 3 colors that I could give, because I know that is ideally what somebody would love to hear for an answer like that. But truth be told, the best thing that you can do for yourself to be able to achieve these colors is have as many paints at your disposal as possible. So it's not easy when you're starting out, but as you could build up your paint collection, and then you could say, man, this color's close, but it's just missing something. I just need a little bit of vanilla in there. I just need a little bit of beige taupe. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're looking for that right color. Ooh, I just need a little bit of play in the sand in there. That could really, really help you. So, let's see. Okay, so Laced Up Customs. Wow, thank you. I really appreciate it. That's already all these super chats. That really, really helps the channel continue to grow. So thank you so much for that, Laced Up Customs. Let's go ahead and check out that Instagram. So my Instagram is Laced Up Customs with underscores after laces, and then after up, and then after customs. Okay. Let's see here. So we can go about another 15 minutes or so today, guys. So I won't be able to get to too many Instagrams. Okay, so laced underscore up underscore customs. Cool. Let's see here. Let me flip over here. Awesome. Laced Up Customs. Hey everyone, my name is Jay and I love customizing shoes along with different forms of art. Leave a like on your favorite pair and follow. Okay, let's see what we got on the story. Reposting some of Zach's work. That pair was dope. Reposting some of Art's work. Another great pair. Yeah, these were super dope. Art, if you're still here in the chat, that was a kick-ass pair, man. So let's take a look at some of these pairs. So we have some Milwaukee Brewers Air Forces. The Brew Crew shoe. It's almost a tongue twister. Brew Crew shoe. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at some more. Got a Green Bay pair. Milwaukee guy. I'm a Chicago guy, man. I'm a Chicago guy here. Let's see the reels. So cleaning up this pair. Oh, should I rock them or customize them? Okay, so do you do it in the video or just showing that you might customize them? Okay, so I think just showing that you might customize them. So much tape, but the way that paint goes on, easy. Okay, so cool. Just a couple rapid fire quick thoughts. So I love that you're posting reels. I'm a big fan. Did the icon for IGTV change, or what is that? Is this, I wonder what that little icon is. Does that just... Is that Instagram? I'm not quite sure. I wonder if the logo for IGTV changed. Maybe. But anyways, I love that you're posting reels. I love that you're posting videos. But just for example, a rapid fire thing, something like this. When you're posting a reel, it's just naturally going to look better if the video actually fills the entire frame. So if you're making your reels and you actually film them with the vertical video, then it's just going to fill the entire frame. You're not going to have that black border. That'll definitely help. Like this one fills up the entire thing. That's definitely going to be the way to go. It's just going to be more aesthetically pleasing. Pictures, I think there's a ton of room for improvement on these pictures. It looks like these are just shot in your hallway. Looks like I see the gray floor and then the, I see the baseboards and then some doors in the background. And it's not that this picture is super blurry. So I just think like, wait, I went black. I think my battery died. Give me a sec to change the battery on the camera. Real quick. Okay, hopefully I'm back there. Yeah, I think I got one just dead battery. How long have we been streaming? Hour 16. Battery shouldn't be dead after just that. So anyways, back to these. Just the way you sort of frame the shoes, ton of room for improvement there. I always just think that if you can make your photo really aesthetically pleasing, if you could just take a great photo, I sometimes like to think of it as, I want to take a photo so dope that it would almost look good as a poster on the wall. That is the level of photography that, I want to achieve. And is this a photo that you would want to hang on your wall, with your bedroom doors in the background and whatnot? Probably not. You know what I mean? The shoes are dope. A lot of the designs are very cool, but I just think there's a lot of room for improvement with the photos. Doing cleats, Vans, Air Forces, a lot of different stuff. Very cool. Some Joker Vans here. Some more of your drawings and stuff. So very cool to see, man. I just think naturally the first thing that comes to my mind is there's a ton of room for improvement with the photos. Definitely feel free to check out. We have it linked in the description of this video. We have a free photo guide that you can download on our website. and it will greatly help you. It'll just give you some really good shooting locations. It'll just give you some photo editing tips. It'll just give you a lot of great ideas for very simple things that anybody could do to just naturally improve. Just minor improvements in your photos can really truly help you, and it can just help you, you know, grow a stronger following on a platform like Instagram, which is, you know, a lot of times you're battling for real estate as people are scrolling, and you real quickly want to grab their attention with a beautiful photo. So definitely keep doing video. I always recommend people just test out a lot of different video, and I love to see you're doing a lot of cool things here. So let's see. We start off with the Air Force One highs, and then just go into the black screen, and now it's a Jason pair. And that's such a simple video, and it's very cool to see. So definitely continue to do that. Always want to mix in reels and video format, and maybe you try to do some more time-lapse stuff, some more stuff of you working. I definitely like to see that you're even just doing. I think that more people need to do stuff like this, of just inserting yourself. Who is Laced Up Customs, you know what I mean? Sometimes who is Moises, you know what I mean? Because then people can relate to you so much more when you actually become a person, and you're not just, you know, another blank artist. So that's one that I definitely recommend. But page looks good, bio good, logo. Sometimes I just always mention it too, but as far as the underscores go in the name, it makes that a little bit harder for people to find you. You know, just something to consider. It's not make or break, but it is an additional thing that, you know, if you just tell somebody in the street who you meet, hey, I'm Laced Up Customs, and you're in a busy place and they don't remember that they have to insert an underscore after every word, now that might be potentially a lost customer. And you just never know, because who knows if that's the customer that could potentially change your life, because they might be well plugged into somewhere where they could create a ton of future revenue for you. You just never know. And I think that way, that you never know who's going to email you. You never know who you're going to meet. And literally any person that you deal with, any experience that you have, could absolutely change your life. So, because I know some of the biggest opportunities that have come my way have come from just incredibly simple, whether it's just emails that have come across that didn't seem like anything special at first, or just meeting somebody just out on a whim. You know what I mean? You never know what could happen. So that's just something to also consider. But good work, buddy. Keep up the good work. I think that once you spend a little bit more time on your photos and stuff, I think that will definitely help you continue to grow your page. But it looks like you're pumping out a lot of good work, man, as far as just how the artwork is and stuff. Like, this is a cool pair. This is a Mordor's map. Really cool. Simple design on the Air Forces, but great vignette around how you did your stenciling there. That was looks really good, bud. So keep up the good work, Laced Up Customs. Okay, here. Johans, I believe that's how it is. Johans says, I found a great flower shop as a spot to take pics. For now, I'm using my phone, which is an Android. So my question is it better to buy, let's say, an iPhone 10 or buy a good camera? If so, which ones? So my thought is that smartphones have come such a long way. The cameras in these things are so insane nowadays that in order for it to be worth the investment of upgrading to a camera, I almost think that there's a medium price point, which is expensive, where it's almost not worth it for anything below it for investment's sake. So I think that, like, if you're planning on investing in a DSLR camera, I think that you should go with something like a Canon EOS RP, which is like $1,000 camera. And if you were just trying to, if you don't have the budget for that, you're way better off just continuing to use your iPhone or your smartphone, because the cameras are so good. Like, they're that good. So what I'm basically saying is, if you were to go and buy a $300 camera or a $500 camera, I almost don't think it's worth the investment of, you're better off basically just upgrading to the newest iPhone, because you get the camera, you get the aspect of the new technology with the iPhone and all that type of stuff. So, but if you're like, okay, I'm willing to spend a little bit of money here, I think that it should sort of be at that medium price point. Yep. That is what I would say. Carson Hawk here says, I'm looking to get a custom with lights added. Who's the guy I should go to? One of the first ones that comes to my mind who's doing some really cool stuff is Electro Kicks on Instagram. He's doing some really cool stuff with lights. That's definitely someone I would recommend checking out and see what you think of his work. Tom's World here says, hey Dylan, when I use some stencils, some will leak and some won't. Is that me not putting enough heat to them, or is that a prep issue? So if your stencils are leaking, that's not going to be a prep issue. If your stencils are leaking, that's most likely not enough heat to the stencil, or you didn't do one of the two methods of using the paint color that's underneath the stencil as your first coat, or using something like the Liquid Kicks inner coat, just something that really helps prevent leaking under the stencil. Or potentially I'm not sure what vinyl you're using. If you're familiar with the one that I use Oracal 811, and I mean it works like a charm for me. So you really do want to make sure that you spend a ton of time really making sure that vinyl's heat set down very well, though. Johnny Randolph here says, can you add duller to the finisher, or does the duller need to be applied to each color? So truth be told, Johnny, I recommend just picking up the Liquid Kicks matte finish. It's that good that it will literally eliminate duller from your arsenal. I mean, no amount of duller mixed with the matte finish can even compare to the Liquid Kicks matte finish. It's that good. So I definitely recommend checking them out. How do I paint neon colors? So the trick to painting neon colors, in my opinion, is let's just talk about like the Angelus neon yellow, for example. The way that I like to do it, let's just say we're painting a white Air Force One. I want my final two coats to be with the Angelus neon. Is it called Sunset Yellow? Or is that a different one? Just like the main neon yellow. I want my final two coats to be with that paint specifically, but I then want to build up to it, because if I just try painting any of the neon colors right on top of a white base shoe, I'm never going to be able to get it even, and it's going to take me a million coats. So the way that we fight this is by mixing in, let's just say we're doing neon yellow. I want a really light yellow with regular, whether it's pale yellow paint or yellow paint, mixed with a ton of white as my first 2 or 3 coats. So for example, let's say, again, white Air Force One, my first 3 coats I'm going to do with something like 50% white, 50% pale yellow, until I have a nice solid base, and it's going to be a super, super light yellow. And that's going to make, once I throw that neon yellow on top of that, it's going to really cover up a whole lot easier. That's something that you could absolutely do. Another thing that you could do there is, let's say, after 1 coat of that, half white, half pale yellow, if that's covering up real nice, you might say, okay, let me mix in just a couple drops of my neon yellow into there, just so I'm continuously getting one step closer to using, 100% neon yellow. So let's just say, for example, first coat is 50% white, 50% pale yellow. My second coat might be something like 40% white, 40% pale yellow, and 20% neon yellow. You know what I mean? And then third coat, I might do something like 20% white, 20% pale yellow, 60% neon yellow. Then all of a sudden, okay, cool. Now I have a really light neon yellow. Now I just do 2 final coats with my full neon yellow. It's gonna make your life pretty easy, and you should be able to get that done in about 5 coats or so. Okay, I saw here, Fabian says, how do you airbrush your stencils on Procreate? I have had a lot of people ask me. I showed that once in our Joker Customize and Chill video. I did it a very weird way that I'm sure people are like, as you're watching it, you're like, how the heck did you kind of do that? And that's one where you just get familiar with how to do layers and selection and inverse of selection and stuff. So I do think that would make for a cool video, maybe some tips and tricks for things that you may not know about in Procreate. But that's one where I've realized it's actually hard for me to describe, whether people have DM'd and asked or emailed and asked, how do you do that? That's one where it's would be a lot easier to show and make a video on. Carson Hawk says, how many customs do you think you have done in your lifetime? Probably, at this point, I'd probably say 4,000 to 5,000 if I had to guess at this point. Da, da, da. Okay, let me answer this question, and then Malika, let's check out, I'm going to check out yours. But Blue here says, I use brushes over my stencils with light layers, but I still get that small lip on the edges when I remove the stencil. Is that just a paintbrush issue, or does it happen with airbrushing as well? No, so I believe that that is a paintbrush issue, because no matter what, no matter how thin your layers are, no matter how light your layers are, how good of a paintbrush you're using, how little paint you try to apply, you're just naturally creating a thicker layer of paint doing it by hand versus airbrushing. So this might be a weird example, but hopefully this demonstrates it. Let's say you have a flat surface, okay? Let's say you have a stencil, vinyl, and just for number's sake, I'm gonna call that, let's just call it 1 millimeter. I'm not sure how thick vinyl actually is, but just for reference sake here, let's say your vinyl is 1 millimeter thick on top of your flat surface. When you airbrush on top of that, even if it takes a few coats, let's say I believe that now that you've painted on top of the stencil, let's call it 3 millimeters, okay? From airbrushing, maybe 3 coats, 1 millimeter each. But if you do it by hand, if you hand painted 3 coats, what I think happens is each one of those coats might be something like 5 millimeters. So now all of a sudden you have 15 millimeters stacked on top of a 1 millimeter stencil. So when you peel that back, you're always going to sort of have that lip, that edge. And that might be an extreme comparison, but I think that hopefully demonstrates that no matter what, your paint's a little thicker when you do it by hand versus airbrushing, just naturally less paint's applied. So you're always going to sort of have that lip or that edge. Yep. Himalayan Sun says, are you doing training in Chicago? Yes. Our next one is going to be early spring of next year. I really had the plan of squeezing one in at the end of the year here, right before football season started. Ideally, it was going to be in August, but just wasn't able to have the time to do it, because for me to do it, I definitely need to have everything set aside so that I can give my full focus to the course for the 2 weeks leading up to it and afterwards. Like, I just need to be fully dedicated to it because of what I know I need to put into it and what I know I want to give to every person who pays a ton of money to come in. People are literally coming from around the world to learn from me, so they absolutely deserve my full commitment. So I can't be focused on other things and busy with other projects. Like, I need to, as I want to do these more, and as these become hopefully a larger part of my business also, then okay, cool, I don't need to worry about some other things because this is a bigger part of my business. So early next spring, and it will be here in Chicago. So let's see. Okay, so let's see. Okay. All right, here we go. We have it all pulled up. So, Melika's Instagram, she says, would love to hear your critique on mine. I'm thinking of going full-time after this week. Wow, very exciting. I know I've talked with you a little bit here and there, and I know you were sort of in a gap year and thinking about this and weighing the decisions and pros and cons, and it's a tough decision to make. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the Instagram here. So, I mean, of course, the artwork itself is just mind-blowing, absolutely astonishing. I mean, let's go ahead. I mean, come on. Come on. It's amazing. It's amazing. And the pair for the gallery in Paris, just yowza. Just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. The Toy Story pair, this was, I mean, these were reposted everywhere. when you drop these in July. I love like the some of these work in progress photos also, like where Buzz still isn't complete. I love to see that. But I mean, come on, look at these. I mean, just incredible, just incredible. And I mean, you could keep going. There's just so much to see. The artwork is just insane. And it's crazy because technically you're kind of just getting started. First post a year ago, 2 months ago. You know what I mean? So the limitless potential. Limitless. Doing a lot of different stuff with reels, doing some sculpting here. It looks like I remember seeing. So yeah, testing out a bunch of reels and getting really good views on the reels. Love to see that. Really good views on the reels. Especially if you look at it in terms of the size of your following versus the views you're getting on reels. Some reels you have more views than followers and stuff. And to have that consistently is incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. Okay, so this button here is IGTV now, so they did change that little icon. Yeah, I love that you're inserting your personality onto your YouTube page also. You're letting people get to know you. I always think that's great. The artwork incredible. Your photos are badass. You're doing your Instagram reels. The artwork is just mind-blowing. Limitless potential. Sky is absolutely the limit here. Gosh, yeah, what would I say to continue to improve? I would say, I know you've started with YouTube. I would love to see more YouTube videos from you. This is a great shot, seeing the teeth built there on the swoosh. Maybe some more, a little, I'm sure, yeah, there's some here, but some more painting vids also, I think is always a great idea, so people can enjoy and see your process even more. But yeah, I mean, come on, just incredible stuff. I mean, yeah, there's no major changes you need to make. Honestly, it's literally keep going, and you're going to continue to grow without a doubt. I mean, to have 84 posts that you can see at the top here, and already almost 4,500 followers, you're doing something right. You're doing something right. You know what I mean? And to be getting those types of views on Reels, that would probably translate well over to TikTok. I'm not sure if you're posting all of those over there also, but I definitely would love to see some more YouTube videos from you also. So yeah, I mean, believe me, there is no major secret other than keep going, keep doing your thing. Do I think that you'll make it as a full-time artist? I think that you already know the answer to that. I think that, truth be told, from what it sounds like from the times I've talked to you, of course there's this huge factor of what are my parents going to think? And I thought that too, because my entire life, all I ever wanted to do was be an architect so that I could I didn't do it only to make my dad happy, but I wanted my entire life to make my dad happy because he said architecture would be a good career for me. So I was, of course, worried about disappointing him by saying, hey, I want to go and have a career painting shoes, which 10 years ago sounded even crazier than it does now. But maybe this would help you to hear too, Melika, but without a doubt, I'm sure he's watching right now, my number one fan is that same guy who I was worried about disappointing 10 years ago when I told him that I wanted to do this. So you 100 million% without a doubt have the talent to do it. You are already implementing a lot of the things that prove you can grow through your content and stuff. And yeah, to be invited to be one of 400 artists in the world, to have a pair featured in a gallery in Paris, come on. I mean, there's zero doubts about the talent. I think right now it probably seems like an issue of, you know, I thought my life was going to be something else, what you were going to school for, and having that tough conversation with your parents, of course, you know what I mean, and telling yourself, man, I'm not sure how close you are to finishing school, but man, I'm already so close. Is it worth it for me to just finish schooling and whatnot? And I'm not saying that it's not, but you without a doubt have the talent to do it, and you're already, like I said, doing a lot of the things that'll guarantee you to continue to grow as far as your content and stuff. So I wish you nothing but the best, Melika, and I'm more than glad to try to help you in any way possible to continue to grow. And so wish you nothing but the best. Main chat. Johnny Randolph here says, you watching the Joe Bob special on Shudder tonight? I am. I'm excited. I'm very curious to see what movies we get. Also, I know David Gordon Green and Jason Blum are going to be guests on there also. The Halloween special last year with the movie Haunt was phenomenal. I'm guessing if you're a fan, you saw that one, but that was the first time I saw the movie Haunt, and it was insane. That's a great movie, especially for this time of year. That's a great, if anybody wants you definitely have to be a big time horror fan, but if anybody likes good, it's a haunted house movie, but it's very gruesome what they do to you in the haunted house. The movie from 2019, Haunt, is a great one. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to this episode of DCF Live. I will be back with another video next week. It should be our first episode of the Custom Cleat Chronicles returning, and the DCF Heritage Contest. Today marks 6 weeks away that you have time to get your entry in. Really excited for that, and hopefully everybody has a great, safe, happy, healthy weekend, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in and for your continued support here on YouTube. So if anybody else has any other questions, anything else that I wasn't able to get to here in the chat, absolutely feel free to reach out. You can always email me. Try to answer as many questions as possible here, but the chat flies pretty quickly. So appreciate you guys, and take care, everybody. Bye-bye.